Good morning, social media breakfast.
Yo, let's hear you.
Oh my goodness, the room is full today. I am so hyped. Okay, so people are interested in AI, huh? Yeah. Okay, all right.
No, they hate it, and probably rightfully so. We'll get there.
Well, welcome to Social Media Breakfast. I'm Jennifer, and this is Cammie. We started this thing together a very, very long time ago.
17 years, ma'am.
Yeah, we've raised whole sets of children since we started this thing. But this morning, we're going to be leading you through a hands-on workshop where we will walk you through how to use how to build reusable AI systems. They really do help with any part of your business, your professional life, your personal life, from like organizing a monthly newsletter or drafting a client proposal or figuring out what to plant in your garden every season. We'll show you how to optimize your workflow and without having to write a new prompt every time, because writing a new prompt every time is a pain in the butt.
Also, it's not consistent. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So I want to start by giving some shout outs to our ongoing sponsors, especially Impact Hub Houston. Grace, I saw you in here. Especially Impact Hub Houston and the Ion, who generously provided coffee and this beautiful space for us to host this event every month. And so if you or your company might be interested in supporting Social Media Breakfast Houston, we would love to hear from you. You can send us an email at email or visit us at smbhou.com for more information on sponsorships. Also, there's a slide. That's it right there with the QR code on it. That will take you straight there. It'll roll back around.
It'll come around.
Yeah. Before we get started, I want to start by welcoming the founder of Elevate Your Impact, Jamila Robinson.
Jamila.
Who's going to share a few words with us about her next upcoming event. Jamila.
Which we are sponsors of, by the way. So come in closer.
Yes,
come in closer.
Happy to be this morning's breakfast sponsor. I'll use my inside voice since y'all were being so loud earlier. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jamila Robinson, founder of Elevate Your Impact. We're a digital marketing firm that helps nonprofits elevate their online presence through social media, video production, and email marketing. We also bring community to nonprofits with a quarterly networking meetup, very similar to this. Socialize, learn some new stuff, right? And so we have one next Thursday, August 20th from 11 to 1, right here in the Ion, next door to this room. Cammie's going to be a vendor there, so she'll get to share gift of guidance with our nonprofit leaders. But this quarter's topic is grant readiness and preparing to receive that next grant. A lot of nonprofit leaders think, oh, I've got my 501c3, give me my grant. And that's a common thought. It's okay if you think that. That's a normal thought. But there are some structures and compliances that you need to have for your nonprofit business. And so we're going to share that information with the nonprofits in the room. So if you know a nonprofit leader, please invite them. If you're a business owner that can help a nonprofit leader, we'd love to have you in the room too. And thank you for your
And you
time.
have like flyers on the table too, right?
Yes, there are flyers.
And how can they
on the
find you
tables.
online for those who are watching online?
On Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Elevate Your Impact.
Elevate Your Impact. Great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Excited to come. Yeah. Thank you, Jamila.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so AI, people talk about it these days.
Oh yeah, well I mean this has been a really big week for it actually, because Claude just announced that they're putting basically a watermark on the copy.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that too. It came up this week.
Yeah,
so
like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So it's always changing, and it's the last year of AI has been game changing between all of the new features, the MCP integrations, the wars between the platforms, and it's really hard to keep up with it. But at this point in our careers, we have to be using it. Cammie, I know that you've really dove into this AI space quite a bit, and so to the people in the room and the people online, what impact have you seen in just this last year on your business in AI?
Yeah, so the last year has been game changer, but I mean, obviously, I and you too. I mean,
Yeah.
I started like messing around with AI probably almost 5 years ago now, before ChatGPT even like launched, and it was basically terrible. You know, it was just like not very good. But today you can go in and give it an idea, and it will help you like build an entire program, a SaaS product. I'm not saying it's a good SaaS product. I mean, so those of you who are coders, don't come for me. But you know, you do have to have expertise still, and I really believe that. Like in dealing with this, I believe we need to put our expertise over a layer over the top of it, and it becomes something you said before.
Yeah. So I was telling before we started, I was telling Cami that I have a friend who hates AI.
Sure.
And the reason why she hates it is because it doesn't give her accurate results. She was telling me the other day that she had to go and do some work for her company and had a bunch of data that she needed to parse, and it came out incorrectly. And what she didn't understand was that the prompting side of it and the insight side of the human insight side of it are more important than anything in this space.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a really good organizer. So you need to bring yourself to it and your expertise to it. And also there's a lot of plugins and things that you can use that it's not the best at math. It's gotten better. It used to couldn't even do a simple, you know, 2 + 2 math problem. So that's not what it was built for. It's a language model.
Yeah, I realize that you have to be good at what you do. You have to understand the work really completely, and what it really is a multiplier for you. And it doesn't create the ability to like create work for you, but it does create the ability for you to take everything you know and then get work done faster. I know you've been doing a lot of work faster.
Yeah. I mean, so that's really where we're at with this, is that, you know, you can actually create it. And I will go over in the second half of this day, we will turn off the live stream and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about, like on the screens around the room. So you'll be able to see, and I'm going to give you a little, you know, small thing to do so you can get something plugged in right away. But the main thing is understanding that it is all about like getting it out of your brain. So that's always been the thing for me. Like I will come up with all of these ideas. I've always done this. Frameworks are kind of a thing. And guess what AI loves? A framework. It loves a good framework. I'm great at frameworks, always have been, but it would take me forever to kind of like go get them all organized and go through them, right? So I'd have an idea and then I'd obsess about it, and I put post-it notes all around, and I'd obsess about it some more. Then I'd worry about it, that am I doing the right thing? So now I'm able to like really quickly iterate through those things. So I can come up with a very strong framework in a much shorter period of time that can be like implemented here. And I'll show you one of the frameworks that I did put together like on the fly for a presentation.
Yeah, could you give us some more examples of like how you think about starting this process? Because I think that's a challenge a lot of times when you're sitting in front of that blank
blinker.
Yes, blink.
Well, first of all, AI is not going to tell you anything that isn't average.
Oh.
That's what it does. It's programmed to be average, to bring in the best of the average of everything that you might have out there. So it might be a little bit good about coming into like your particular area of work. Like you can give it a role. That was one of the things I learned right away, is you could give it a role. Like you're a marketing expert.
Yeah.
And then the reason you say that is because then AI goes out and looks in marketing expertise like pool. So that's one thing that immediately can make it better, is giving it a role, because it looks in the right place. It's not like Google, but it is in some ways too. It's, you know, you've heard about the long tail searches. Those do better on an AI platform. So I don't know why I'm disconnected, but I am. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So that is absolutely one of the things I would say. The second thing is to think about the things that you do every day that drive you crazy, that you do over and over and over again. So what it's really great at is automating certain tasks. And it's getting better at that every single day. So for example, even just this last month in Claude, it added an area where I could add a search to my email. So I'll show you this later, but basically inside of a project, I was able to say, hey, every time this kind of a Zoom summary comes into my email, like bring it in here. So I made it actually so I have to push the button, because otherwise it eats a bunch of tokens. I don't want it to do that. So I'll go in there and I'll click it, and it'll pull in the summary, and it'll help me create the email for that. Right. So it's a push button thing that used to be like cutting, pasting, putting it over here, putting it over there. I don't have to do that anymore. So you can even like hook it up. I haven't done that yet, but you can even hook it up to your Slack channel and have it just go, directly in. So there's a lot of things you can do with it with other tools as well. And I think we kind of think because they came up with a chat bot for us, which by the way, revolutionized the world. The chat bot made it possible for all of us to think we could do this because we're used to Google, we're used to searching. So we're like, oh, we can do this. But they didn't have to do it. Before that, it was just an API, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so now, like, all of the things that have happened in the last year have made it so easy to think that you're doing something, like to your point, that you're doing something in AI that maybe isn't the case. So when you've got like the chat, when you've got like the voice tool and the chat tool, and it's hooked up to all these pieces of your other systems, do you like? Is that enough insight? Is that enough data?
No. Thank you for asking that question. Yeah. The answer is no.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so part of what you're going to have to do is also give it examples. I'll give you one example right off the bat. Proposals. I don't know if you're somebody who writes proposals. If you're not, or somebody who reads proposals, hopefully you're one of those two. They're really a pain because you spend a lot of time on them, and then sometimes they never call you back. There's all these things. So I took every proposal I've written over the last couple of years, and I put it in AI, and I put failed and passed, ones I got, ones I didn't get, and I put it all in there, and then I had it turn it into text, which is what they call a markdown file. So one of the things that's really interesting about AI is that if you can take, I know you can take a PDF and upload it and all that, that's great, but what I'll have it do is I'll have it turn it into an actual text file, because those text files, which are called markdown files, is how these communicate with each other. That is the way that an AI talks. It's all about text. So again, not about math, it's about text. So again, if you're putting in a bunch of mathematical equations and stuff, you really need to start thinking about even more connections to other tools, but we'll get there in a minute. You can use it for simple things, don't get me wrong, but again, so markdown files, I turned them all into markdown files, and then I said, hey, read through these and tell me what was similar about the ones that we won, what the contracts that we won, and what was similar about the contracts that we lost. And one of the things it told me was that, hey, you tend to win a contract when you first give them a little, like an audit or something small up front, and then it's like low risk, right? And so then they hire you for the audit, and they're like, oh, I want you to do that. So like I created an audit for the way that they show up in their website, and I don't do SEO and GEO specifically, but like because have a public relations background, one of the things right now that actually matters a lot is where you're cited out on the internet. That's become like PR said, oh, PR is dead. No, PR is more alive than it ever has been, because right now we need a 360. The thing that you say on your website matters, but it matters too what other people say about you on other influential websites. It matters. And so that's huge right now. So I was like, I want to kind of come up with an audit for that. I want to show my clients how they can take advantage of that. And so I created that audit, and then I sold one to a client, and then it was easy for me to sell that again. So that audit then says, this is what you need to do to fix all that. Who's going to fix all that? So it was really helpful to see that from like another point of view, because you know how it is when you're in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I think you just think a certain way.
Yeah.
And so one of the things you have to be relentless about AI to make it work is you have to be relentlessly curious about what is wrong. Like if it's not working, instead of throwing the computer against the wall, what I would do is go back to the basics.
So I'm going to ask a really pressing question that I feel like everybody's. So is this more efficient?
No, it actually isn't. It's just, it is not. It takes more time to create a efficient AI workflow than to do it yourself, I think. But here's the kicker. Once you have that workflow dialed in and it's working and things are good, and I'll show you some ways to like reuse it over and over again. One of the things that really worked for me was connecting it to my Google, because we use Google as our main thing. Some people use Microsoft, we use Google. Connecting that to the AI, and then I have documents inside of my Google Drive that are connected to a project in the AI. And anytime I change anything in the document, it automatically is updating it back to the AI project. Well, that's a game changer. And I'll show you why it's a game changer. You can make tasks and skills, and there's a bunch of really technical things, JSX file. I've done all this stuff and love it and have them. And I'll show you a few of those. But if you just start with this basic thing, own your IP, it sits on your server. And then the AI looks at it for the truth.
All right. I know we're going to start our workshop soon, but what I want to do is
15 minutes.
Yes. I want to understand, if you're new to this and you've got all of these things that you do in your business, you've got accounting and you've got budgeting and you've got, you build a website and you've got social media and you've got this and that and the other thing, you have a software platform. Where do you start? How do you begin to think about the repetitive tasks, the jobs to be done that you can build out with an AI tool?
No, I think it's a great question, and probably you can answer that as well as I could. So I look for the pain point. Like I just told you, proposals were a pain point for me. I hated to do them. I did. I mean, I like looking at other people's business and figuring it out, but like actually putting the proposal together was something I really didn't care for that much. And so the funny thing about a proposal is it's a template. So if you have anything that's templated, that's a great place to start in your business, because you can figure that out. Is it going to connect with your current tools? I mean, this is also a huge part of this. It's like, oh my gosh, is it working with this or does it work with that? If it doesn't work now, it will within the next 24 months or less, 12 months probably. Because even things that weren't working with it before, you mentioned something called MCP, which probably half of you know and half of you don't. Could you explain what an MCP is?
So it's Model Context Protocol is the fancy way of saying it. So an MCP is like an API, but imagine an API for like normal people. So if you've ever had to connect two systems together with a key and you got to go in there and type it in and that, and and put it in the code, like it's very difficult. So an MCP is a tool that sits on top of an AI tool and connects all your things. For example, the thing that connects Claude to Slack is a part of the Anthropic MCP.
Right.
So, and it's getting so powerful. Everything is connected. You don't need a Zapier anymore. You don't need a Make anymore. If you have all of these systems now talk to each other with a literal toggle switch click.
It's true. And the great thing about that is too, you can use a Make or a Zapier to go the other bit of the mile. So if it doesn't go all the way where you want it to go, you can connect it there because it reads MCPs too. So it's all very, very interesting right now. And if you're like, how do you do that? I don't know. I'll show you a couple things. We're not going to go into MCPs today because it's a little more complicated than a half an hour I can do. I need to give you guys something you could do in a half an hour. But what I'm trying to say is there's more out there. And I've been doing JSON files now and creating little apps for the phones. It makes it really easy to quickly whip that up. And, and it walked me through it. I didn't know how to do it. It says, do you want me to do a JSX file? I'm like, what is that? The first time.
Literally.
I'm like, okay, tell me how to do it. And then it said, yeah, go and, start a repository on GitHub. I'm like, how? Okay, here. I mean, I had a GitHub account. I don't know why I did, but I went over there. I'm like, I have a GitHub account. Cool. And so I went in and did that. And they said, okay. I said, well, how can I show it to other people? They said, well, you could try Vercel because they have like an open thing where you can do it, show it to other people. I'm like, okay, what's Vercel? I went, it's free. I'm like, okay, I made an account. You just have to be willing to be interested and curious to make it happen, right? Because it's not like I knew how to do this ahead of time, and I think I'm going to do a JSX and put this up there. And I said, I'd like to make this slide more interactive for my audience. That's where it started. Yeah. That's where it started. Right. And I'll show you that because I'll show you that little tool that I made and you can use it today. So I'll give that tool to you today. I'm going to give you a ChatGPT, custom GPT. That's where it actually started for me, was custom GPTs, because I teach a lot. And custom GPTs were available to anybody. Like because anything I build in Claude, I really can't give it to you. You know what I'm saying? You can't come into my Claude and use my projects. But I could make a custom GPT and then share it with you. And then I made like 12 or 13 of them because I was like, a brand voice, this or that. I'm going to give you the brand voice today. A brand voice of this or that. I have a million. A proposal. I started with proposals there too. Now I have them moved over into a project because I just have more control there. And I could do that analysis I told you about, which was very helpful. So those are the kinds of things you learn as you go. I don't know if that's answering the question.
No, it really is, because that's actually how this kind of works. And so now you have some ideas on how to go about figuring out what this project is that you want to do, or these problems that you need to solve. Like, because that's actually the way to do it, is you've got to figure out what your jobs to be done are, and then you've got to figure out what like the ones that are painful for you are and that you don't want to have to do every day and are repetitive. And then so once you've got that, you talked about, you have to then go ask the AI how to build these things and how to construct them. And then once you construct them and test them, how do you know that any of this is working?
Yeah. So, generally speaking, you can kind of look at it. I really still believe expertise is really important. So one of the things I think, even with like coding and AI, if you're a coder, when you see something that's like, that's like not connecting the way it should. When I see copy that looks like AI slop, I know what that looks like. Do you? I kind of can. I'm like, I read something, I'm like, oh, Claude made that. I do it all day, every day, all day, every day. But like, for example, for these events, I have a custom GPT that helps me put these event proposals and flyers together and everything. So because there's so many like things that have to be created, right? So I will look at it and I will rewrite some of it often. It's common. And then what I started to do is I started making myself a document and writing in my document the things I didn't like about what Claude tends to do, because I'm using Claude at this point mostly. And I was like, okay, Claude, X, Y, and not this. Never do that. So I started like writing into my file. By the way, on my Google Drive, I have a AI guardrails document, and inside of it, I'll open it up, and time I hate something that comes out, I put it in my document. I tell it, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And when I see something really sloppy, I'll say, hey, it doesn't look like you looked at the AI guardrails. It's like, oh, you're right. Let me go look at those. Oh yeah, you're right. I got to get rid of that. And then now it will say to me, hey, that violates one of your guardrails. Do you still want that? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's sitting on my hard drive though.
But that's what training a model really looks like. It's not easy. Like, it does take time.
It's not a bunch of prompts. And I'm sure some of you have trained your AI to sound like you a little bit because you are out there doing it every day, no doubt. But if you have clients like I do, or other things like I do, like very specific projects, these like lighten that load for me like quite a lot. I used to take a couple of days, to do this, or a couple of days to do that. It takes me like 10 minutes sometimes.
Yeah. Before we get into the workshop portion, I have enjoyed talking to you about your smart card system. And so I want you to tell this audience a little bit about how this came up, because it's a cool story to me. Okay. And what they're going to learn today.
Yeah. So smart cards. I kind of just made that name up, by the way. But one of the things that happened was I run a group called Smart Social Mastery for PR marketing and consultants that are trying to grow their visibility, but obviously know what they're doing, because they do know what they're doing, but they just don't do the work for themselves. They do it for other people because they'll always put other people first. So we created an accountability group, and I looked at like, what was it that I did over the years to like grow my visibility, and what did I do from the blogging all the way up? And I created a little system. So, because I told you I'm a framework girl, right? And I did that way before AI or anything. So we launched that, and as I was going along and AI started becoming like interesting to me and I was doing more things, I started to put all my prompts inside of the worksheets that I gave them. So in every single worksheet, I had a prompt for every single one, I'd tell them, fill out this form, and underneath it say prompt. And so they would at first take those prompts, put them in, and that would help them work through that first question. So it was really very much almost an instructor rather than like helping them do it. And then at the end, I realized, oh, you can just upload the entire document and it will automatically run. And it started to run and it reminded me, because I'm old, of when I was in college and they had entire buildings with computers in them. Like the whole building was the computer, and you went in, they had these cards, and you'd put the cards in, and the cards would do one thing, and then you take it out. Some of you, I know you know this. Yes. Please don't leave me hanging here. Yeah, but anyway, they would do these cards, and so it totally mystified me at the time. And it was definitely less than this. You did one function per card. It's almost like a prompt, but I was like, hey, I have a little smart card here. And so that's why I called it smart card. Anyway, so then we started to use those with that group, and they loved them. And they were like easily getting through things that took them too long to do. You know how it is, you go into a program and you're like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then you just don't do it. Yeah, so that's what we did. So they started to do the work and started to get the work done and started to use the work. And I was really excited and proud of them too. Yeah, but that's what we did. And so that's how I came up with the smart card
really
idea.
Cool concept.
And then I realized you could plug them into a project. And then I was like, okay, now we've got a system. So you can take all these cards, plug them into a project. So you can make those. You can make a card. It's like making a worksheet with like instructions. So if you made any worksheet ever, you can do this. And that's what I thought too, because I was like not a programmer. I'm somewhat technical because I'm like a little cutting edge. I'll go to things.
You'll go try things. Yeah.
Now you work inside of a company. So what about you? How are you doing this? Where did this come for you, or how are you using it day to day?
Yeah, I'm using it a lot, quite a bit. So the way that I'm thinking about my AI use is I work for a tech company that's an AI software company. And so using AI is
mandatory.
Deeply encouraged and within my work. So, and I lead a small team, a very small team. And so I have to think about it from the perspective of efficiency. Luckily, I have a super creative team. They're very creative, but they don't have enough time to execute everything all the time. And so we have to find tools that help us create consistent marketing materials that are on brand and are look like what would come out of a large tech company. And so with 4 or 5 people on our team, that can be a challenge. And so we use a lot of Claude, and we've built lots of skills.
Yeah, skills are amazing.
And are sharing those skills so that we have consistency. And then we're plugging them into multiple platforms. We have a platform that our content designer is using to build like video, and then we're taking that video and then stripping it down and using the audio, and then we're taking that and we're creating content out of that. And so it's a multi-step process, and it's repeatable and consistent, and we're connecting the tools together.
Yeah, and the skills are great. The reason I'm teaching the projects is because, number one, I don't want you to be totally reliant on Claude.
Yeah,
that's a skill.
It's easy to get totally reliant on Claude.
And like so if they did away with skills tomorrow, they won't. But if they did, she would be like, okay, see what she just did. But it's the same thing that would happen with watermarking here. Like if somebody's like, I have an entire book company, and I don't agree with this at all, by the way. I created all these books, and I do it with AI, and they do. I've seen them because they've like advertised to me on Facebook and other places. I'm sure they're absolutely freaking out at this very moment. So back to the watermark a little bit. That's what happens. Like AI is you're renting the tech. So if something happens, and it did, and I don't want to do that, like say I don't want Claude to watermark all of my stuff that I created. Okay. So then now I'm gonna have to use a different, I'm gonna have to go about a different way. But guess what? I have like 1 million cards on my hard drive. Immediately I can plug them in somewhere else, make a skill, do this, do that. I can do 1 million things with those cards.
So the moral to the story is separate your documentation from your platforms.
That is it.
All right. So we're about to get into this.
Yes.
Does everybody have their laptop?
And for those of you who are online, we are going to go offline to do this because it would be very boring to you because I can't show you my screen. But we will put the link to this in the chat. I think Tracy has the link. Oh, you already did it. She already did it.
Right.
I'm sorry. Tori is already put the link in the chat. So check it out there. And I'm going to stop this screen on where you guys can get it here in the room. So let's go.
All right.
It's this thing right here.
Let's do it.